if you're ever going to be friends with a pedophile, maybe think about the fact of whether it's a wise thing to stay friends with him. Check this out.
In retrospect, I was foolish to spend any time with him.
The Journal previously reported on Gates' ties to Jeffrey Epstein, including that Epstein threatened Gates over an affair he had. The two met a few times, Gates says, to discuss philanthropy. Do you think, looking back at that moment, that you were being played?
Well, Jeffrey, in retrospect, I was foolish to spend any time with him, and he sort of got time with various people by spending time with other people. So yes, I think I was quite stupid. I thought it would help me with global health philanthropy. In fact, it failed to do that, and it was just a huge mistake.
Has it made you more wary of connections?
Definitely. Yeah. In retrospect, I was foolish to spend any time with him.
Yeah, in retrospect, I was kind of foolish to spend time with him. Look, I'm not going to knock a guy for spending time with somebody who they don't know, is a pedophile, right? You could always be with someone, you have no idea. Sometimes it could be your family members, but then to turn around and act smug about it, and then your wife leaves you over your alleged connection, maybe he feels foolish, and I'm not going to, say anything that I don't know, but maybe he feels foolish because, I don't know, maybe he, you know what I mean? With the minor? I don't know. I'd feel pretty damn foolish. Because remember, a lot of these guys were intentionally being pedophilic. They just were sort of blackmailed. That was the whole Diddy stuff. They'd have you sleep. They're being bad, right? Immoral. They'd have you sleep with a girl and then they'd be like, by the way, she's 14. I mean, how do you not know that they're 14? Maybe they found girls that looked older. I don't know. Maybe it was sinister and sadistic and they are a pedophile death cult and they should all be shot in the head. Look, I don't know. I would like to think it's the latter, but we can't all have our cake and eat it too. Now, that being said, you guys know that there's big games going on with the Super Bowl, the Philadelphia Eagles versus the Kansas City Chiefs. Now, the question is, who are you going to be cheering for on February 9th? Your tailgate or watch party deserves the best food. Now, listen to this. Good thing your ticket to hosting like a champion has arrived right now. Packed with America's best burgers, hot dogs, and wings, Good Rancher's tailgate box will have everyone cheering, not just for the game, but for the spread. Do you want even more to cheer about? Subscribe today and get a free meat for a year. Your choice of salmon, ground beef, or chicken breasts. That's a win no matter how the game ends. Whether you're trying to eat healthier, enjoy more moments with family, or spend less money on going out to eat, GoodRanchers.com/VNN is here to help you turn all your resolutions into solutions. When you buy your meat from Good Ranchers, you're directly supporting local farms and ranchers in the U.S. while skipping imported meat and the hassle of grocery store shopping. Now, during Good Ranchers' New Year Meat Special, you can subscribe to any box of their high-quality, 100% American meat or wild-caught seafood using promo code VNN at checkout. And guess what? You're going to get $25 off plus free express shipping. And it gets even better. Your choice of free ground beef, chicken, or salmon in every order delivered for an entire year. Start 2025 off with better choices, better meals, and better moments at home. Visit goodranchers.com/VNN. That's GOODRANCHERS.com/VNN. Use promo code VNN today for American meat delivered. Honestly, I love it, and I eat it all the time. Enjoy it right now. Links in the screen and the description. Now, that being said, check this out. Jim Acosta, our favorite CNN host. Well, he's quit CNN after he got demoted. The real reason behind his meltdown, as he's gone amid CNN's attempt to become less partisan. Listen to this. Goodbye, Mr. Jim Acosta. CNN's longtime political firebrand, Jim Acosta, has officially exited the network after being reassigned to a midnight time slot, a move widely seen as a demotion for the once dominant voice of the Trump resistance. Known for his combative style and relentless sparring with President Trump during his first term, Acosta's fall from grace makes a significant shift in the media landscape. Jim Acosta rose to fame as CNN's chief White House correspondent, where his confrontational approach to questioning Trump officials earned him both accolades and criticism. Now, his clashes with the former president made him a polarizing figure, celebrated by some as a truth teller and dismissed by others as an opportunistic provocateur. But as Trump returned to the Oval Office and CNN underwent a series of programming overhauls, Acosta's brand of activism-driven journalism seemed increasingly at odds with the network's evolving priorities. His 10 a.m. Eastern slot was reassigned to a revamped version of the Situation Room, relegating Acosta to a midnight slot, a move insiders described as clear demotion. Now, CNN's leadership, under pressure to recover its plummeting ratings and establishing credibility, has been pushing for a shift towards more neutral reporting with President Trump's return to power. The network's overly partisan approach during his first term has been widely scrutinized, and Acosta's polarizing presence reportedly no longer aligned with its strategy. Now, sources suggest that CNN executives hoped that Acosta's reassignment would prompt him to resign rather than openly terminate his contract, a decision that appears to have worked. Acosta, however, has not gone quietly, with insiders claiming that he voiced frustration over the move, calling it a disservice to his tenure at the network. Now, as we know, Acosta's tenure at CNN reflects a broader trend in media during Trump's first presidency. The rise of resistance journalism, his aggressive questioning, and open disdain for the Trump administration won him accolades from liberal audiences, but also cemented him as a figure of division. Now, critics argue that his approach often blurred the line between the reporting of activism undermining CNN's journalistic integrity. As CNN pivots towards rebuilding its brand, Acosta's departure may symbolize the end of an era, once defined by relentless opposition to Trump rather than balanced coverage of his administration. Now, people are asking, what is next for Acosta? I remember for years, most importantly, Acosta was always in the White House. Do you remember this? He was in the White House, just something that rhymes with itching and complaining, and sort of just reminding America that the left is nasty, that they're mean-spirited, and they don't care about truth. I remember thinking, what's going to happen at the end of this? I see a lot of guys that work in streaming, right? They get hyped up, they sleep with a bunch of women, they're controversial, and they sort of just like come and go, right? They sort of fade in and fade out. And you go, why are you going to sort of punch in and sell out the American people for a little bit of fame for a few years? Was it worth it? Well, so what's next for him? While Acosta has yet to announce his next move, speculation was rife that he may join an independent media platform where his activist style can thrive with corporate constraints without it. Some suggest a possible book deal or podcast could be in the works, while others see him as a potential hire for an overtly partisan outlet like MSNBC or the Young Turks. Look, I don't know where he's going to go. I'm not entirely concerned about that. It's not exactly something that I concern myself with. I'm just like, the fact that he left, good riddance. Speaking of that, reminding you, he quit on air. Check this out. We have the original clip of it posted by ALX.
Just wanted to end today's show by thanking all of the wonderful people who work behind the scenes at this network. You may have seen some reports about me and the show. And after giving all of this some careful consideration and weighing an alternative time slot CNN offered me, I've decided to move on. I am grateful to CNN for the nearly 18 years I've spent here doing the news. People often ask me if the highlight of my career at CNN was at the White House covering Donald Trump. Actually, no. That moment came here when I covered former President Barack Obama's trip to Cuba in 2016 and had the chance to question the dictator there, Raul Castro, about the island's political prisoners. As the son of a Cuban refugee, I took home this lesson. It is never a good time to bow down to a tyrant. I've always believed it's the job of the press to hold power to account. I've always tried to do that here at CNN, and I plan on doing all of that in the future. One final message. Don't give in to the lies. Don't give in to the fear. Hold on to the truth and to hope. Even if you have to get out your phone, record that message. I will not give in to the lies. I will not give in to the fear. Post it on your social media so people can hear from you too. I'll have more to say about my plans in the coming days, but until then, I want to thank all of you for tuning in. It has been an honor to be welcomed into your home for all these years. That's the news. Reporting from Washington.
Womp womp. Bye. Anyway, it doesn't really matter what he's been responsible for. I feel like these people just, they always think we care. That being said, CNN also aired a ridiculous 5-minute segment comparing Elon Musk to a Nazi. Check this out. Well, WAPO reporter Catherine Rampel spent 5 full minutes desperately comparing Elon Musk to a Nazi on CNN. Scott Jennings wasn't having it, sparking a heated exchange. Check this out.
The first time that Elon Musk decides to declare that globalist Jews are responsible for the great replacement of brown people into the United States, maybe it was a misunderstanding. The second time he said that Jews are pushing hatred against white people, that's a quote, that was a little iffy. By the second Sieg Heil, I think he kind of loses the benefit of the doubt to be not accused of playing footsie with these Nazis. I'm not saying he's a Nazi. I'm saying the Nazis think he's a Nazi, which they very clearly did at this event. And these words were not said in a vacuum. As you pointed out, the leaders of AfD have embraced, in many cases, the Nazi heritage. They have wanted to take down the Holocaust Memorial in Berlin, saying it is inappropriate to recognize this horrific chapter in German history. And I just think it's horrific. I don't understand why this guy keeps getting the benefit of the doubt, whether or not he believes this stuff personally.
You didn't even mention the Nazi jokes he was making on Twitter.
Yeah.
That actually got
he's been given
ADL
so
to
many
say
chances
something about it.
Yeah.
I was hearing a lot of sighing. Scott, what's the deal?
I mean, we've moved on from Trump derangement syndrome to Elon derangement syndrome.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you want to defend his saying the Germans get to...
Let me let him finish, Catherine.
I love this game we play where you talk for 2 minutes, I talk for 3 seconds,
ahead,
and you
Scott.
freak out. So he has a long record of supporting the Jewish people, number one. Number two, anybody who is asserting this thing he did on the stage the other day was a Sig Heil, which I just heard you say.
The first time that Elon Musk decides to declare that globalist Jews are responsible for the great replacement of brown people into the United States, maybe it was a misunderstanding, you know? The second time he said that Jews are pushing hatred against white people, that's a quote, you know, that was a little iffy. By the second Sieg Heil, I think he kind of loses the benefit of the doubt to be not accused of playing footsie with these Nazis. I'm not saying he's a Nazi. I'm saying the Nazis think he's a Nazi, which they very clearly did at this event. And these words were not said in a vacuum. As you pointed out, the leaders of AfD have embraced, in many cases, the Nazi heritage. They have wanted to take down the Holocaust Memorial in Berlin, saying it is inappropriate to recognize this horrific chapter in German history. And I just think it's horrific. I don't understand why this guy keeps getting the benefit of the doubt, whether or not he believes this stuff personally.
You didn't even mention the Nazi jokes he was making on Twitter. That actually got
he's been given
ADL
so
to
many
say
chances
something about it.
Yeah.
I was hearing a lot of sighing. Scott, what's the deal?
I mean, we've moved on from Trump derangement syndrome to Elon derangement syndrome.
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you want to defend his saying the Germans get to...
Let me let him finish, Catherine.
I love this game we play where you talk for 2 minutes, I talk for 3 seconds,
ahead,
and you
Scott.
freak out. So he has a long record of supporting the Jewish people, number one. Number two, anybody who is asserting this thing he did on the stage the other day was a Sig Heil, which I just heard you say, you know, lawyer up maybe, because absolute ridiculous thing to say. Under no circumstances.
The Nazis in Germany thought it was a Sig Heil.
Under no circumstances was he doing anything other than expressing enthusiastically.
Why don't you do it on TV right now?
His appreciation.
Why don't you do it on TV right now if you think it's so?
Number three.
Banal.
Number three. I think it is fully appropriate, and I, of course, have been the strongest supporter of the Jewish people on this network for over a year, since October the 7th.
Is that true?
To remember the Holocaust and to remember the atrocities committed against the Jewish people. And I also think it's appropriate to remember the atrocities committed against them right now. And it seems to me, let me just finish my point.
No,
I
won't let you change the subject.
It seems to me.
Let's address what we're talking about.
I'm trying to finish my point.
As the Jew at this table,
I'm trying to finish my point.
I would say
the people who are most concerned about and most all over Elon Musk today have had nary a word for the Nazis on college campuses who've gone crazy for the last year and a half.
That is bull. That is bull.
Nothing.
I am a Jew who has criticized the people on college campuses for saying anti-Semitic things. I will go on the record as saying that. I am also criticizing this man who, a day or two before Holocaust Remembrance Day, makes light of this moment, this horrific moment in German history. The reason why Germans remember this moment.
I don't believe he's making light of it. I disagree with that.
Absolutely.
This is why I want you to address what we are talking about here, because you can talk all day about college campuses, but Elon Musk, 2 days before Holocaust Remembrance Day, went and spoke in front of a far-right party that, as part of their platform, wants to atone. They want to erase the idea that Germany is responsible for this.
A lot of them deny the Holocaust even happened.
In history.
Look,
they want to deny the Holocaust. He decided, the thing I'm going to do today is speak before a bunch of far-right people who, in their own country, have been sent to court for using banned Nazi symbols. Really?
Look. I think it is possible to do two things. One, support the Jewish people and the memory of the victims of the Holocaust. And number two, say something that is actually factually correct. Nobody being born today is responsible for what happened in the Holocaust.
Do you know why we remember
Just like
the
nobody
Holocaust?
being born today is responsible for slavery.
Do you know why we remember the Holocaust? Do you know why it's important to teach?
Never happens again.
It's so that we can understand
and I
how
totally support
normal
that, and I
seeming
agree with
people It's so we can understand how normal-seeming people can be complicit in horrific acts.
I think
that is the purpose of understanding and remembering the Holocaust.
And what horrific act is Elon Musk endorsing today, in your opinion?
I don't know. Detention camps?
Come on.
Well, look.
Come on.
What do you mean, come on?
I
mean, you are way off the rails.
I think it's kind of...
I'm off the rails.
Yes.
You're the one who defended sig heiling as a normal activity.
This salute trutherism is outrageous. This is the most.
Do it right now on TV.
This is the biggest conspiracy.
Do it right now on TV. If you think it's normal, if you think this is a normal way to greet people, do it right now on TV. Why won't you?
I want to redirect us here because I get it. It's easier for you to defend, for whatever reason, the Sieg Heil. Okay, fine.
Is that what you're calling it?
But
are you saying it's your position that he was giving a Nazi salute?
I am saying this. You just called it a Sieg Heil trutherism.
She did.
That is the conversation that you want to have. But there's another part of the
conversation. She brought it up.
Hold on. That is about Elon Musk, his pattern of behavior that includes giving support to individuals who, in their own country, are believed to be so.
It's so funny, right? That's insane. Look, I don't even care about this whole Jewish topic that much anymore. It's a kind of a tiring thing. But it's like, I'm the Jew at the table. It's like, imagine if Scott Jennings was like, I'm the white. Well, should he be the one talking about Hitler? Because he's the white guy? Because Hitler was white. Why do the victims need to talk? What about the aggressor? Because didn't he technically lose why people lost? Or did we win because America won? Like, no one even knows what's going on here. Did the Jewish banks win? I don't even know. But like, this kind of conversation is literally crazy. Watching this, I'm like, this is American television. No wonder why people watch American politics and not their own. Because this kind of stuff is like actually kind of oddly entertaining. Now, obviously, people know it is a new day in America and a new administration has officially hit Washington, D.C. There's a lot of excitement going around, and you can see there's a lot of optimism too. But the reality is there's also a lot of work to do, especially when it comes to fixing our broken healthcare system. The truth is that the forces that are responsible for breaking our healthcare system aren't going to simply go away. The challenges that our system faces won't disappear overnight. Now more than ever, you need to be prepared. That's where the wellness company comes in. Their doctors are medical professionals that you can trust, and their line of prescription medical kits are the gold standard when it comes to keeping you safe and healthy. Whether it's the medical emergency kit, the contagion kit, the first aid kit, or the travel kit, these prescription kits contain an assortment of life-saving medications and guidebooks to assist in the proper use of these medications. From the flu to strep throat, from COVID to the bird flu, from a trip to the beach to a trip overseas, the Wellness Company has a prescription kit designed to keep you and your family safe. Make America healthy starts at home. Now, do you do your part right now to protect your health and those of your family? Go to twc.health/dailydose. It's twc.health/dailydose today and order. That's twc.health/dailydose and use the promo code dailydose to save 10% or more. Check it out. Links on the screen and in the description. Guys, you got to get one of these, whether you have insurance or not. This has every medication you need that's life-saving, whether they shut down the actual supply chain, whether they deny you, or whether they charge you an absurd amount to see a doctor in emergency or urgent care. Again, I have people on my staff, we're contractors, they don't have health care. I'm sure it's nice to know they don't have to go to Mexico, that they can just get, antibiotics tomorrow if they need to from here, if they need it, because let's be honest, insurance sucks. Check it out today. Links on the screen and in the description. Now, that being said, former governor shuts down CNN panelist after she claims the border was better under Biden. Listen to this. Well, it turns out that this clip happens as Scott Jennings shuts her down. Listen.
Right. The numbers were already down historically. They were less when Joe Biden was in office than when Trump was in office. So it's really all for show right now.
There's a couple of things that have been said that I think are inaccurate or out of context. One of which is the idea that it was just as good under Biden. That is patently false. Biden belatedly, at the end of his presidency, did some things through executive actions that the last 6 months made the numbers look better.
I didn't say it was just as good. I didn't say it was just as good under Biden.
I said the numbers were lower under Biden when Biden left than when Trump was in office, and that is a fact.
No, over four year to 4 year. 4 year to 4 year.
When Biden left,
4 year to 4 year. Who had a better record?
The New York Times.
Hold on, Maria, hold on. I want the governor.
The New York Times, which is no conservative publication, did investigative reporting not long ago that looked at the Biden administration and concluded that the number of illegal immigrants that President Biden led into this country was the largest number of illegal immigrants in the history of the country, bar none. New York Times. Beyond that, this point about Scott just raised, the American people are fed up with illegal immigration, and they're particularly fed up with people who are criminals and also fugitives from the law. Tom Homan may get to the point where he's in schools or hospitals. We'll see if criminals are hiding there. They're not there yet. And the idea that somehow this is offensive to go after rapists, murderers,
No one is
sex
saying
traffickers.
that that's offensive,
but
Governor.
now those numbers are
No
going to
one is
ramp up.
saying.
I'll just make a prediction to you. Trump will increase those numbers well beyond what you saw under Biden. And lastly, there's 1 million plus fugitives beyond the criminals who've already been adjudicated, have already had due process, that are in the United States. So once they get done with the gangbangers, the sex traffickers, the weapons merchants, the other folks who are involved in heinous crimes, then they can get to work on 1.2 million fugitives who've already been adjudicated and get them out of the country. And when they get that all done, maybe we can get around to some of the other ones.
Right. Look, things were not better under Biden. Like that's just a ridiculous sentiment. And when I think about the way that people talk about the border issue, like also like things would change. It's been a couple weeks. It's been about a week since he just was inaugurated. What do you think is going to be happening? It's been under a week, actually, right? It's been exactly one week, 1 week. I mean, do you really expect there to be massive, monumental change? Look, I don't think so. And in retrospect to everything going on, I mean, I don't think it's going to just happen overnight. I think these are going to take time. And I expect them to take more time. But you tell me what you think in the comments down below. Do you think they're overreacting or not? That being said, a jaw-dropping study finds that vaccinated children have a 170% higher risk of autism. Listen to this. A peer-reviewed study also found that vaccinated children had a 212% greater likelihood of developing other neurodevelopmental disorders, including ADHD, epilepsy, seizures, brain inflammation, and tic and learning disorders. Check this out. Well, it turns out that vaccinated children have a 170% higher chance of being diagnosed with autism compared to unvaccinated children, according to a new peer-reviewed study. The study also found that vaccinated children had a 212% greater likelihood of developing a range of other neurodevelopmental disorders, including attention deficit hyperactivity disorder, and that includes epilepsy, seizures, brain inflammation, and tic and learning disorders. According to the study, the childhood vaccination schedule is likely a significant contributor to the higher rate of autism and neurodevelopment conditions in vaccinated children. The study of 47,155 9-year-old children enrolled in the Florida Medicaid program since birth was published on January 23rd in Science, Public Health Policy and the Law. Karl Jablonowski, PhD, senior research scientist for Children's Health Defense, said the paper is unignorable simply by the sounds of its method. The sheer hazards associated with severe childhood diseases is jaw-dropping. The paper's authors included Mousen, Jacob, and Mississippi-based Chalfont Research Institute hypothesized that they said that childhood vaccination is associated with autism and other neurodevelopmental disorders. Increasing numbers of vaccinations lead to higher risk of autism, and vaccinated preterm babies are at a greater risk of neurodevelopment disorders than unvaccinated babies. Now, here's what I got to say to this. 2 factors might be associated most directly with autism. The age that people are having kids, I think autism rates can increase if you have kids older because there's actually problems with corruption in the DNA. But on top of that, it's probably caused by vaccines. And the reason why I know it's caused by vaccines, when I was in my immunological development course, right? So you sort of like understanding the development of vaccines. This is back in the day, in the laboratory days. I remember, this is upper division sort of collegiate standard work in a very competitive program. The one thing that we had to do in order to get to that level was to pass a subject called microbiology. And microbiology is difficult for some people, not myself. But I remember that there was one question that was about 50% of one test you needed to pass. It was really weird. 50% was just that, do vaccines cause autism? They made it that one of the tests, you would fail it if you thought, so you would fail the program and fail the class. If you thought that vaccines cause autism or related to autism, you could not get a biology degree from the program. So they set up the test that is that question was weighted enough that it could stop you in your degree and that you couldn't go to med school. So they've set it up that you can't go to med school until you agree that vaccines don't cause autism. That's crazy. That's crazy, but it's not unbelievable. Am I right? Now, interestingly enough, CDC is ordered to cease collaboration with the WHO immediately. Check this out. Well, it turns out that in yet another positive development of public health in America, according to AP News, the U.S. Centers for Disease Control and Prevention official, John Neken Gasong, if that's how you even say it, or Ken Gasong, sent a memo to senior leaders at the agency on Sunday night telling them that all agency staff who work with the WHO must immediately stop their collaborations and await further guidance. The Associated Press viewed a copy of his memo, which said that the stop work policy applied to all CDC staff engaging with the WHO through technical working groups, coordinating centers, advisory boards, cooperative agreements, or other means, in person or virtual. It also says that CDC staff are not allowed to visit WHO offices. Last week, President Trump signed an executive order to withdraw from the World Health Organization directly. He signed that at his desk. This is excellent news, particularly at the U.S. withdrawal from the WHO is expected to take considerable time. Epidemiologist and foundation administrator at McCullough Foundation reported. Now, look, this is Dr. McCullough. This is one of the most published cardiologists that exists in the history of the country, literally just celebrating this. And so when you have people that are this well respected, celebrating something to this regard, you got to ask yourself, what is it that we are missing to why this wasn't happening before and why this is barely happening now? Now, obviously, a Tren de Aragua leader, according to Colin Roog, was just caught on camera terrorizing people in Aurora, Colorado, has been arrested by Trump administration. Do you remember this clip? Now, this is crazy. Check this out. The rest of the report says here that Anderson Zambrano Pacheco was wanted in Colorado on kidnapping, burglary, and menacing charges. Pacheco was busted in the Trump admin's first immigration raids in New York City early Tuesday morning. Witnesses say that officers smashed down his apartment door before hauling him away. When they brought him out, he had shackles on his wrists to his feet. His face had a real angry expression. It was strange, a witness said. And according to the New York Post, it was unclear exactly what the 25-year-old moved from Colorado to the Bronx, but neighbors suggested that it was sometime in the fall. Now, they got him. The fact is, I remember I was watching a report from the mainstream media that was saying, there's only a few apartment complexes, J.D. Vance, vice president, that got taken over by Venezuelan gangs. Does it elicit such a strong response from the government? Is it necessary? And he was like, are you kidding me? You're asking me that how many apartment complexes need to be taken over by Venezuelan foreign gangs before it elicits a strong response? It's absolutely remarkable, right? It's like the audacity of these people. The fact that this person's in custody makes me feel a little safer at night. That being said, the mainstream media is back at it again. Legacy media is caught peddling fake news about RFK Jr. linked to Bill Gates. They're using a fake list of pretend doctors to take down Trump's HHS pick. Listen to this. Last week, the Legacy media was caught pushing the Committee to Protect Healthcare, an AstroTurf group linked to Bill Gates that was peddling a fake list of doctors who opposed Robert Kennedy Jr. as Health and Human Services Director. RFK Jr. will sit before the U.S. Senate this week and begin his confirmation process as the next HHS director. According to Breitbart and Alex Jones, the group behind this petition, the Committee to Protect Healthcare was allowing anyone to sign their anti-RFK Jr. petition, claiming to be a doctor. The petition reportedly had over 15,000 leftist doctors sign their letter against Robert Kennedy Jr., except that the 15,000 names were not all doctors. Any Yahoo could sign the letter. And of course, NBC News and others ran with the fake petition. They couldn't resist. Now, Alex Jones broke the story on Friday night. He testified, talking a lot about exactly what happened. Check this out. Here he is.
January 24th, 2025, and we have some of the biggest Bill Gates corruption news ever to break. We have him caught red-handed, ladies and gentlemen. He has been discovered and proven to be the main financier of a major fake petition that they claim 17,000 plus medical doctors have signed, saying that Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is a dangerous fraud as the head of HHS to block his confirmation. They are using fake doctors' signatures to do this, and Bill Gates has been discovered to be the main financier. We're about to break it down right now.
This I'm referring to is the letter supposedly signed by 17,000 doctors that was organized by the Committee to Protect Healthcare, which would seem pretty credible, right? And this letter urges the Senate to reject Kennedy's nomination, citing his history of spreading misinformation about vaccines and public health interventions. So I thought, geez, really 17,000 doctors signed this? This seems crazy. So I clicked on the letter, and guess what? I signed it twice. One says Dr. Fake, and one says Dr. BS.
Now, earlier today, respected talk show host Jillian Michaels broke the news that this particular notorious dark money group was caught by her and others faking these signatures, true fraud. But when she said the name of the organization, I instantly, about an hour ago before we shot this report, went, whoa, Bill Gates has been caught in scandal, giving billions to that over the last decade. He's the main financier of it. And then George Soros is the second largest, but Bill Gates gives around half the money to it. And I went and looked up the latest numbers, and indeed, he is one of the main donors. And of course, we know he hates Robert Kennedy Jr. with a passion for exposing Gates and Fauci being behind the development of the COVID virus, its release, and then, of course, the poison mRNA shots. So this is sensational information. But just minutes before we came in here and shot this report, we went in to the online petition and signed it in a matter of minutes, and I am now officially a medical doctor. Alex Jones, Dr. MD Alex Jones, has now joined the 17,000 plus doctors in signing up. All you say is, I'm a doctor, no proof. You can now be a doctor, maybe even get a diploma in the mail. But there's a whole nother level to this fraud.
Look, the absolute fraud has already been exposed. There's nothing you can really say to turn out against it, but these people are so shameless, right? Now, obviously, you know that this fraud is happening in other places. Do you know that the homeowners associations of America have over $32 trillion in equity in their homes? That sounds great. Now, listen, if you're a homeowner or you know someone who is, your home can actually be stolen from you. Criminals are targeting that equity right now with a growing scam called house stealing. The FBI even knows about it, but many Americans don't. So listen if you haven't heard of it before. Scammers can transfer your title out of your name using a one-page document that they file at the county. Then they can take out loans against it or even sell it behind your back. And the scariest part is you won't find out about it until collection or foreclosure notices start arriving in your mailbox. It's leaving you with financial and legal nightmare. The best way to protect your equity is with Home Title Lock's exclusive $1 million triple lock protection. This service offers 24/7 monitoring, urgent alerts, and if fraud should occur, their US-based restoration team will spend up to $1 million to fix the fraud and restore your title. So when was the last time that you checked on your title? If you're like me, the answer is never. And that's exactly what scammers are counting on. The good news is that we've partnered with Home Title Lock to offer you all 25% off their services. Go to HometitleLock.com, use promo code VNN25 to save 25%, and you'll also get a free title history report to ensure that you are not already a victim. And make sure that you check out the $1 million triple lock protection details when you go there. Link below. That's HometitleLock.com, promo code VNN, HometitleLock.com/VNN, promo code VNN25. That is HometitleLock.com/VNN, promo code VNN25 to get 30 days free. Honestly, guys, if you own a home and you don't have this, it's like being a human and not having health insurance. If you can afford it and it's not very expensive, I would get it now because you literally can't afford not to have it. Now, that being said, a pardoned J6 protester says that he has proof police incited riots at the Capitol. Listen to this. Virginia Beach resident Jacob Hiles is a charter boat captain arrested for crimes related to the protests on January 6th. He ultimately pled guilty to one misdemeanor count of parading, demonstrating, or picketing in the Capitol building. In exchange for Hill's guilty plea, the Department of Justice dropped the remaining 3 misdemeanor charges against him. He was given 2 years probation, yet he says he has evidence that something else went on. Listen to this.
Now at 6 starts with the latest on the man on your screen. He's Jacob Hiles, a Virginia Beach charter boat captain who's facing federal charges related to the Capitol riots. Hiles just had a court hearing this afternoon after he turned himself into authorities earlier today.
The FBI says Hiles was in the crowd that stormed the U.S. Capitol on January 6th. Tonight we have details from his hearing. Allie Weatherton has our update.
Jacob Hiles turned himself in this morning at the FBI Norfolk field office. The Virginia Beach fishing charter captain faces 3 federal charges, including knowingly entering or remaining in any restricted building or grounds without lawful authority and parading, demonstrating, or picketing in the Capitol buildings. At his first virtual court appearance today, Hiles says he would hire his own attorney. A federal judge said Hiles will be released from jail once he signs bond paperwork. But there are some some conditions he has to follow. The judge said Hiles cannot travel out of the United States. He also said Hiles needs to stay out of D.C. unless it's for a court proceeding. Hiles is also required to remove all his firearms from his home for the time being. This comes days after court documents were filed showing several screenshots of Hiles' Facebook posts. One said, quote, "Feeling cute, might start a revolution later. I don't know," and tagged Capitol Hill. Another post later that day said in part, quote, "After being tear-gassed for an hour, we entered the Capitol, thousands of us. The FBI shot and killed a woman in front of us. We followed the trail of her blood out of the building." Hiles' next virtual court date is scheduled.
Well, he says there's a lot more to the story that he could not tell the public until he was officially pardoned by Donald Trump. The boat captain tells him that he was a video proof of Capitol Police acting to incite the riots. At 9 minutes of his video is posted to WAVY TV 10, though it appears to be heavily edited. You can watch some of it here. Check it out.
A Virginia Beach man pardoned by President Donald Trump says now he can tell another side of the January 6th story. Tonight, only on 10, charter fishing boat captain Jake Hiles shares the disturbing video of what he says he saw and heard during the attempt to overturn the 2020 election. As promised, President Donald Trump on day one,
we hope they come out tonight,
pardoned nearly 1,600 people charged in the deadly attack on the nation's capital. This is video fishing boat captain Jake Hiles captured what he says is proof some police officers contributed to the deadly chaos.
I have videos that show Capitol Police inciting riots by shooting. They were walking through the crowds with a super soaker style water gun that was full of bear spray. I have on video, I have a man who had been sprayed by a Capitol Police officer. I'm standing right beside him, and he walks up to the Capitol Police officer and says, "Hey, why'd you spray me with bear spray?" You know, the guy he said he was a Vietnam veteran and he's never done anything but serve the country.
Twice before, Hiles shared his story with 10 on Your Side, but for the first time, he's sharing his video.
It was what I was told in August of 2021 in a Zoom meeting with Brandon Merriman, who is the special agent in charge of January 6th. He told me that if I go to the media and start talking about January 6th, if my videos find the media or the internet, that I would, quote, spend the rest of my life in prison. I asked for what? He said, "I'll find something."
Hiles pleaded guilty to parading, demonstrating, or picketing in a Capitol building in a case that cost him 6 figures. Democratic Senator Mark Warner says the pardons could cost the nation the rule of law.
Some of these rioters brutally attacked policemen, and now they're getting a full commutation. I don't know what this says about rule of law.
Hiles says J6 defendants who committed violence deserve to have their lives destroyed. Hiles is just one of 15 local people who were arrested for their role in the chaos. 10 on Your Side reached out to...
Yeah, you know, I do think it was an inside job, and I don't think there's anything that's really we could say against that. Obviously, we know that this stuff was instigated by the government. Now, to what extent, we'll have to, let time be the judge. But anyway, my name's Elijah Schaefer. Thank you for watching another episode of Daily Dose. These are the top stories that you might have missed every day at 8 a.m. only on vigilantnews.com and on Rumble. If you like these stories, make sure that you subscribe to this show by hitting like on this video, dropping a comment, and following us here. We appreciate it a lot. And if you want more videos like this, you can sign up to our newsletter at vigilantnews.com. Have a great rest of the week as always, and may God bless the United States of America. I'm signing out.